Video store magnate Johnny and his soap opera star wife Moira suddenly find themselves completely broke. With only one remaining asset, a small town called Schitt's Creek, which the Roses bought years earlier as a joke, this once wealthy couple must give up life as they know it. With their two spoiled children in tow and their pampered lives behind them, the Rose family is forced to face their newfound poverty head on and come together as a family to survive.
This week on You've Never Seen That, Schitt's Creek.
From Atlanta, Fulton County.
Have but one objective.
The color I see. Then you maintain the status.
December 7th, 9th.
You never seen that! You never seen that!
Welcome back, everybody, to the You've Never Seen That podcast. First time ever in Technicolor video.
This is all new for us.
Yes.
So if this is your first time watching, it should be, because we've never done this
only
before.
time we've ever done a video. So in case you're wondering how you got here, why you're here, or what's happening, this is the show where two dudes watch a random episode of a random popular television series that they've never seen before, and then they discuss the plot, the characters, and the fandom surrounding it. Who am I? A moderately attractive face attached to a sexy, sexy voice. First time seeing me, I am Dr. Michael Haas, not actually a real doctor.
It is me, your boy Bell, the other sexy, sexy voice with the other moderately sexy, sexy face.
I think that in terms of our presence, and our stock has gone up by being on YouTube, but I think the people who were fans previous to getting the visual, I feel like their experience has been lessened slightly by this.
We have a third sexy, sexy person in the studio
Yeah.
who's a new addition to the YNST team. His name is producer Josh.
Yes.
Josh, give a little shout.
That's a shout. Good.
That's-
That was perfect. That's exactly what we wanted.
He's back there on the ones and twos. We're glad you're back. It has been
A lot has changed.
It's been a very
It's been
long
a
time
while.
since we've done this.
Yeah, a lot's changed.
We
we have video
a little behind the scenes. Normally we're faced like this.
Yeah,
And now we're faced like this.
it's weird.
If you're listening,
Feels like my life has shifted 90 degrees.
they just listened to me say this.
They're listening to it and they're like, I have no
and
idea.
then they heard me say this. There
yeah,
you go.
They have.
We're watching a show called Schitt's.
What if Matt
Creek.
Murdock were listening to this and he could tell that you'd moved 90 degrees just by listening?
We are not watching Matt Murdock. We watched an episode called a show called Schitt's Creek.
A very, very, very popular Netflix original series. No, not even. It's on Netflix now, but it's not original series.
Here's the thing.
It was a pop show.
We have known each other
Getting
for
a nod from our producer that it was indeed a pop show. That's a Canadian network,
we've
right?
known
Yeah.
each other for a very long time.
Quite a long time.
And if there's one thing you know about me is that I've always said
Yeah.
I love
The Pop Network.
original TV.
The Pop Network. Yeah, that's
I've
true.
always said that.
Yeah, we've known each other, what, like 12, almost 15 years now, and yeah.
Yeah, I think the first thing I said to you,
I was like, hi, I'm Haas, and you were like, fudge, do you know about the Pop Network? And I was very confused, but what a relationship it's become.
yeah. So the probability of a show called Schitt's Creek
Uh-huh.
on a network that no one's ever heard of,
Yes.
that no one's ever seen.
Can you do me a favor real quick?
Sure.
Can you name me one other Pop original series?
There was also Ass River. Is that not?
Oh, yeah, the new original series, Boob Lake. Yep. Oh, boy. How are we ever going to get sponsors on YouTube like this?
So, a show called Schitt's Creek
Schitt's Creek.
on a network that no one's ever heard of,
Never heard of it.
that no one ever has seen, gets picked up by Netflix, and then
Yeah.
it just wins everything.
Do we know when it got picked, like what season it got picked up by Netflix?
There's a person we can ask.
Yeah, I think we'll get that information here soon. But it
He's
was
behind
not
the camera.
It was not
For those of you
originally.
looking, I'm pointing at him.
It wasn't. It was not. It was not early on.
The Emmys just happened. Well, not just happened,
It
but
was a few months ago.
and they quite literally won everything they were nominated for.
Yeah. I had no idea that was the first time Catherine O'Hara had ever won an Emmy for anything. I feel like she should just have she should have an EGOT because she's the mom in Home Alone.
See, man, this is just it's just like we've never stopped recording because this is exactly what happens. I want to dive into the characters, but
That's not how this works.
no. Let's first talk about how we normally start.
I think we got an answer on that season. When was it picked up by Netflix? I'm gonna say 4. Season 4.
It looks like it was picked up on season 6, the final season.
Oh, the final season.
Really?
So it ran all 5 seasons on Pop.
Don't quote me on that.
That's literally
that's
what
your
we
job.
do. That's why you're here.
That's actually your job.
Wow. I did not know that though. To run 5 seasons on a completely unknown network and then get picked up by Netflix and win everything.
If anyone is interested in a producing job, email us at
No, you called it a job, which means we have to pay them. So nope.
no. So my point was,
We usually talk about.
we normally start things off by
show.
talking about what we knew about these shows going in, because it's generally shows that we have heard of, but
at least familiar with.
have never seen. So this is a show that
Oh, I get the name now.
of what?
Or the podcast, I get the name now.
I don't understand.
I've never seen that.
This is a show that so many people are like, is the show in the hat? Is the show in the hat? And I'm like, yes, I haven't seen it and I can't watch it because it's in the hat. So we figured, what better show to start with than Schitt's Creek?
That's true.
It's like crazy popular.
It is incredibly popular, and I kind of wish I could go back like 4 or 5 years and just kind of watch it. You know,
We've got
like just watch it evolve.
We've got a little David
We got our
Pop
David
doll. The amount of Schitt's Creek Halloween costumes were just like nuts. And I kind of get why.
Yeah, no,
It's a pretty delightful show.
I know we usually save it for the end of the podcast.
Sure.
About whether or not we think it was deserved, but I will say this: I get it.
Bleep that. Cut that out.
Why?
Because that's for the later in the show.
But I mean, that's why I said
No,
I
but
prefaced it.
we have a producer. He can cut that out now.
I don't cut that out.
Anyway,
That's
so
that's more work for you. I don't
one thing that we normally start with is
paying him French fries. Don't ask him to do that work.
We start with who is the show for, right?
Yeah.
And based on who I know that watches the show, the amount of accolades it gets on the internet, it's like, I don't know, everyone.
Do you think it was a little selfish of you to pick this show to come back on? Because this show is literally like right in the wheelhouse for us.
So yeah, I mean the thing is we talk about.
I mean, if we're being true to form to the podcast, we could have like had to watch like CBS's Numbers or something.
It's in the hat.
And like that's not a good experience for everyone watching this.
So we talk about like what we knew about this show, and like I will start with the cast. I knew who was in it: Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Catherine O'Hara, all greats. And I was like, it's a great cast, but I kind of was skeptical going in because I was like, is this just like about a rich white family? Like, do I really want to watch a show about a rich white family that they are not rich anymore? You can't see on the audio, but I'm doing the thing that rich people do.
You know what? You know what I love about having a video format now is this is stuff that you would just do all the time during the show, and no one would know.
I'm rich,
and now you can see it. Now it can actually.
But honestly, I was like, do I really want to watch a show about a rich white family that isn't rich anymore? Because if you boil down Schitt's Creek, that's pretty much what it is.
I will be honest. I also thought that I wasn't it's not that I didn't think I was gonna like it because everyone loves it so much. It's that I just kind of thought of like, haven't we done that before? Isn't this like are we so?
This show's not woke.
Like, are we? But honestly, are we so entrenched in just dystopian futures now that we decided to remake Richie Rich, but if he lost all his money?
I mean, I will say that like.
That's not fair. What I just said is absolutely not fair. In the event that like Dan Levy or Eugene Levy ever see this, like that's not fair, and I don't want that to be the takeaway.
I will say that this show takes that concept of like rich white family loses their money, but there's so much more.
They do so much more with it.
There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of character development. There's a lot of it feels like genuine. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like
it feels like a real 20-minute comedy too.
Right. But so back to my other point of who the show is for, kind of everyone.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've talked to a single person who's seen the show. Maybe there's people who have seen the show and they don't watch all the way through, but they're like, yeah, I've liked what I've seen. I've never talked to a person who's like, Schitt's Creek, that show's shitty, huh? How's that one?
You know what?
Okay.
I was hoping we were going to get a lot further before that happened, but
right.
we're here.
I did say Ass River earlier.
And Boob Lake. Don't discount all of them. I love all of our children equally.
Well, okay. Well, what do you think? Like, who do you do you think that there is a specific audience for this show? 'Cause to me, it's like, yeah, maybe you could say people they're late teens, early 30s, but like people that are like 12 like this show, people that are like 70 like this show.
I think one of the reasons this show did so well and won everything is because it just appeals to everybody. I mean, I've talked to people in my demographic range, and they're all like, "Yeah, I absolutely love it." So
quick
that
question.
makes sense.
When you do talk to people in your demographic range, is that how you talk to them?
Yeah, I actually just stand on the street and I
hello
wait.
there,
Hello, fellow
mid-30s white man.
Caucasian 18 to 35-year-old. Would you like to talk about Schitt's Creek? Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. Catch me in the mall doing a survey. No, I like all of my peer group. Is that better for you? I don't know.
No, it wasn't so much the use of demographic. It was the demographic.
That's what it is.
Demographic. I mean, I did do this for rich people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, come on. The point was...
is this distracting?
Yes, very much so. The point was, everyone who I talked to, there was only 2 responses ever. There was, I absolutely love this show. It was phenomenal, incredible. It deserves everything it gets. And then there was, no, I've never seen it. Like, that was it. There was no middle ground, no in between.
So we oftentimes get shows that are in the hat that we are bummed that are in the hat because we can't watch them until we pull them out. And this was one of them.
This was absolutely
one of them. I was like,
them.
I really want to watch that show. And then especially after they won every single award they were nominated for.
Yeah.
They actually swept the entire Emmys.
Every category.
They won Best Musical. They won Best Horror.
There's a musical episode?
They won Best... they won every category.
Oh.
Even categories, the Best Foreign Film.
Best Foreign Documentary.
Schitt's Creek.
as a television show. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that makes this show appeal to so many people is that, like, they somehow make rich white people that lost all of their wealth relatable.
They make problems that I don't ever have and don't foresee myself ever having somehow seem like something that I could see myself going through.
The weird thing is, so Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara were in a movie together called the Best in Show. Can you?
Oh, that was great. That was a
confirm that. Is it called Best in Show?
Yeah, the dog movie.
Yeah,
Best in Show.
I remember seeing that movie when I was like 10.
Yeah.
What year? 2000. Producer Josh, you want to get on that?
2000.
2000. So I'm like 10.
Yeah.
And I remember the style of comedy is very similar to that show. To that movie than
it's very satirical
it's
of
very,
a very
like,
upper crust world, yeah.
Because the comedy in this show is not like in your face ha-ha comedy. It's not like there's not any like I'm going to slip and fall in a puddle or like it's not your
There's
like,
not a lot of waka wakas.
It's not Chuck Lorre.
Who?
Oh, I forgot that we don't say his name.
We don't say his name.
I forgot that
we don't say those words in this house.
Producer Josh, can you bleep that out? We
bleep
can't.
That.
We can't say.
We can't bleep it because then people won't know what it was. And
but the style of comedy. I remember being 10 and watching Best in Show and being like, this movie is awesome, but it's like not the style of comedy for a 10-year-old.
No.
But I was like, this movie rules.
Yeah.
It was the first time where I was like exposed to this kind of like dry, awkward humor and not like, Jim Carrey crawling out of a rhino's butthole.
Oh, I was a big fan of that. I was a big fan of that too.
Very funny.
That was very funny too. Big fan of that.
But yeah, so I think Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. Well, I guess we can transition this into the characters, but
sure, yeah.
The two of them already worked together already. And so
From my understanding of it, they've worked together quite a bit.
I think there is another movie that they've done with the same director as Best in Show. I don't remember what maybe, I don't know, you can... Producer Josh,
you know what? Hey,
giving you a lot to work with here.
I was going to say, we need to set some ground rules for what you can and can't. Like, you're going to give them some, like, absurd, ridiculous topic. Like, Eugene Levy ate a sandwich one time at Kat's Diner, and there's a quote.
Yeah, Kat's Delicatessen in New York.
Yep, and there's a quote about him eating that sandwich, and I need to know that because it's pertinent information to this podcast. So get on it.
But if
it's more than 15 seconds from now, we've moved on.
So Eugene Levy, a lot of people know him as Jim's dad, American Pie.
Yep.
Big eyebrows.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like, I think of Best in Show.
Yeah.
Even though, like, he is Jim's dad, American Pie. That's like the one.
That's how I knew him.
That's how everyone knows him. And then Catherine O'Hara has just been in a million things.
The mom from Home Alone. She is the mom from Home Alone, though. If Eugene Levy is Jim's dad, then she is the mom from Home Alone.
Is that? Are we getting confirmation?
We're getting confirmation from our producer that she is the mom in Home Alone.
Well, let's talk about the cast quick then.
This is a family affair.
What?
They're all the Levys are in this.
Dan Levy.
So Eugene, I believe, is a producer.
Sure.
And he's the dad. He plays Johnny Rose.
Right.
Dan Levy is the writer and creator, and he plays David. Pop doll here.
Sure.
I didn't know this, but a beat character, Twyla, that's Eugene Levy's daughter.
Is she a Levy as well?
That's Eugene Levy's daughter.
Oh,
getting another thumbs up from our producer confirming that one as well. This is the kind of system that I want.
Having a producer.
Me too. Yeah, so it's all
great.
three Levys are in it, but for the sake of the characters and the format of this podcast, the Rose family has two Levys, Eugene and Dan.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
This show's not about the shits.
You thought it was the shits?
I thought that this show, when we find out that Eugene Levy's name is Johnny Rose, I was like, well, then who the shit are the shits?
I was almost
because shouldn't it be Johnny Shit?
I was certain from when Without a Paddle came out with Seth Green and Sean William Scott. I was convinced that this show, the town was called Schitt's Creek, and no one was named Shit.
Okay,
Since that movie came out, I knew that.
Can we acknowledge that a show that has a character named Mutt Shit won every Emmy?
Yeah.
A show on the best network, Pop, named a character Mutt Shit.
Okay.
And then they won everything.
But we're also not addressing the fact that the idea that the phrase...
he's very attractive.
The idea
Wait,
that...
what?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The idea that the phrase up Schitt's Creek, we're getting confirmation on that one too? We're getting
confirmation that the guy who plays Mutt Shit is attractive.
Wait, is his last name Shit?
Yeah, he's one of the shits.
Are they... the Shit is the family, like Roland and Mutt, like they're all... Jocelyn, can we get that?
Admittedly...
This is a fruit salad of characters right here, and I apologize.
Admittedly, we have both, after watching this initial episode for the podcast, we have went back and watched
I've watched
additional episodes.
I've watched a
because
lot.
Roland does not appear in this episode.
He doesn't.
He does not appear in this episode.
More, yeah.
Which was another thing. What's the guy's name that plays Roland? Can you look that up?
Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott.
Yeah.
Because I remember at the end of this episode, I was thinking, like, isn't Chris Elliott in this? And he never appears in this episode.
We're getting something here?
It is the only episode he's not in.
It's the only episode that Chris Elliott's not in?
He's not in.
Oh.
For 79 out of 80.
I see.
That's bizarre.
Wow,
that's the
one.
one. Because I remember the episode ended, and I was like,
hold on.
Isn't there Chris Elliott?
I have not addressed this enough, which is that apparently the phrase up Schitt's Creek without a paddle is pervasive enough that they not only made a movie with Sean William Scott and Seth Green, but then Dan and Eugene Levy were like, hold on, what about a show?
Yeah, well, there you go. Schitt's Creek.
How long till we see like a Schitt's Creek musical? It won't. Here's the thing: it won't be about the movie, and it won't be about the show, but it will be based around the phrase "up Schitt's Creek without a paddle."
So the show is done now, correct?
I believe so. Yeah,
all 6 seasons are over.
Yep.
Mutt Shit. That's the guy's name.
Huh? Yeah, they won everything.
So we talked about Moira. We talked about Johnny.
Yeah,
those
so,
are the two
so
main
Catherine
characters.
O'Hara, Eugene Levy, Moira, and Johnny Rose are the parents.
Dan Levy, who plays David,
Yes.
delightful.
I love him.
He's a fan favorite.
Yeah,
People love him.
easily.
Well, also the sister,
Alexis Rose.
I actually in my notes thought that they were like dating because
Oh, really?
there's a scene where she calls him babe in a very like affectionate way.
Oh, yeah.
But now after watching several episodes, you
pretty
realize like
apparent
that's
what she
just
was- yeah,
that's
that's
just
true.
like their relationship. But there's a scene where she's like David, babe, and it's like are they? But then and so I was like very confused for a little bit.
That I did not have a similar experience.
Well, I don't know. I have an older brother, and he's never called me babe.
I have a hard time arguing with your logic, so yeah.
Anyway, the character list for the show is pretty small. I mean, you have all
even
the,
our episode is really just the Roses.
Yeah, so it's the
and
Roses.
Mutt.
and we get a little bit of Jocelyn.
We get a little bit of Jocelyn.
Which we now know Jocelyn is married to
Roland, who is
we
not.
don't see in this episode, but they are.
We don't. Do we even find out? It's not in this episode that we find out that Jocelyn and Roland are Mutt's parents.
I don't think so.
No.
Do we see Twyla?
We do.
She's in this for a very brief moment, I think. And then there's a side character in the plot of this episode named Herb
Oh, I didn't take that.
Ertlinger.
Yeah.
Which
Herbertlinger fruit wine.
So you know, for
you know what? I just realized something.
okay.
What are we like? Almost 20 minutes in.
Sure.
We watched season 1, episode 6 of Schitt's Creek, Wine and Roses.
I mean, they know that if they clicked on the
hopefully
episode.
they got it from the title and the thumbnail, but I realized just haven't addressed
You know
it
what?
at all.
Let's start over.
Start it over.
Start over.
Start it over.
Go ahead.
We'll start it all over.
Go ahead.
Hi, welcome back to the You've Never Seen That podcast, the two with Shub and two boos watching the podcast. It's fan.
If you could,
There it is.
if you could see producer Josh's face, I think he actually thought we were starting over.
He is. Did you stop?
No.
No, we're still going. Good. Okay.
April Fools.
Oh,
So the character list is very easy.
really
I mean,
easy.
It's a from the
There
episodes
is-
that I've seen.
we do get some Stevie. Stevie.
Oh
Bud.
yeah. She
is the
runs the
motel
which they live in.
Yeah.
But even like I've watched up until this episode, so which is new.
I've watched a little bit more from here.
But it's kind of the only characters in season 1 at least.
Largely, yeah.
Largely.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to manage. I mean, it is just a quick 20-ish minute show, half-hour comedy on Pop TV.
I think it's 22 minutes total.
Shout out to my favorite network.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are the only characters, and I think that's almost another reason why
It makes it so easy.
it makes the show it's an easy binge.
You know what's nice though is that they have such a small amount of characters that they actually put time into developing instead of just being like a town full of zany characters. Here's the guy that dresses like a centaur, and it's like, what? No.
What show are you talking about?
I'm saying like that. They're like the shows that are written like this. They usually have like the crazy town characters, and like you don't really ever get that. Like you see some of other people, but like you don't.
Yeah, I
have-
mean it's the characters that live in Schitt's Creek are the characters that you meet.
yeah,
And that's kind of it. I mean, I guess I've only seen up until this point,
6
so I'm sure
episodes.
there's a few characters that come and go.
There's some characters that you get that are just kind of like staples of the town. But I'm trying to figure what was the show or the movie, I can't remember, but there's a guy on rollerblades who just always comes in rollerblading and then he rollerblades away.
Lucifer.
Yes. Yep. It was not Lucifer, but yep. Yes.
Bob's
yeah.
Burgers?
There's a,
Is that it?
Yeah.
I-
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And like the whole point is like it's a town full of zany characters, and one of them is just a guy who rollerblades. But like in Schitt's Creek, every character has like you see Roland's home, you see Roland mowing the lawn. We don't in our episode because he's not in it, but
Right.
like, you see these characters in this town, and it's not like here's one trick pony that just runs by in the background.
I still think it's so bizarre that We
79.
randomly selected an
79
episode.
out of 80 episodes. We picked the one he's not in.
We had a 1 in 80 chance, and we nailed it.
Yeah.
Well, let's quickly dive into the plot. So, we haven't done this podcast in so long that I forgot how frustrating it is to just dive into a show with no information and try to discern what is going on.
When I look at my notes, it looks like it's written by a toddler who drank too much juice. Like it's so incoherent because I don't know any of the characters. I don't know anything what's going on.
It's easy to establish. Okay, they're rich.
They were rich.
They're
eccentric.
Living in a hotel, motel,
Holiday Inn.
I mean, I should have been. I lobbed that up for you.
You did. You really did.
But so there's a lot to kind of discern just because each episode just kind of throws you into whatever's happening.
Yeah.
They generally just start in some sort of like panic.
Yeah.
I've noticed a theme
Yeah.
that these episodes just start. This one just starts with Johnny expecting a phone call, and
he can't
every phone he gets to doesn't work, and it's this panic, and that's how the episode starts.
It set that opening scene set the tone so well for me to know what to expect when he tells Stevie to send the call to the other room, and Alexis answers it with the open door between the rooms, and she still says he's in the other room and hangs up.
So, at this point, I'm still trying to figure out who the Roses are, because I still think that they're going to be the Schitts, and then I realize that they're not the Schitts, they're the Roses. But I'm also I don't know why they're famous, why they're rich, why they don't have money. You
know what was great was going back and watching from the beginning, which we both did.
Yeah.
After this, you don't really ever figure it out. You see that they are super wealthy, and that you get the background that he owned a chain of video stores and his wife was a soap opera star.
Yeah. So based on the pre-roll that we read earlier.
But like you never see, like, I don't know what the name of his business was.
Do we, in this episode, is there mention of the show that she's on?
No, it's not in this episode. The first time it gets mentioned in this episode, I think, was...
I feel like we do, because I think there's a scene where she's in her trailer, and they mention the name of the soap opera, which is like
Sunset Bay. Sunset Bay.
Yes. So that's like the first time where it kind of clicked, like, okay, so she's this soap opera star.
One of the best jokes is, you were pretty much drunk all of season 6 of Sunset Bay. Oh my God, am I an alcoholic?
So
and then Eugene Levy, no.
So the basic main plot of this episode is that Moira has been contacted by a wine rep,
Herbert Linger,
to do a wine commercial.
And now I'm pretty sure. So it was, they moved to Schitt's Creek, and Johnny is trying to find a new business venture.
Right.
And so he reaches out to Herbert Linger because he wants to be his business manager, and when he brings him in, they say, "Oh, we actually want Moira to be our spokesperson."
The other kind of B plot, which apparently is kind of just a consistent B plot, is that David
is having a panic attack.
Just thinks he's having
he's
eternal panic attacks.
He's having a panic attack, and he doesn't think that they exist.
And so we learn very quickly the dynamic of this family.
Yeah.
They're dysfunctional, but in a way that's like
I'm not
stick
gonna lie.
together.
I'm not gonna lie. With all of the various dysfunctions, this might get dark. I don't know. With all the
that
various,
never happens on the show.
It never happens. With all the various dysfunctions in families, like if my family were dysfunctional in the way that the Roses were, I'd kind of like that. I would take that.
So we follow. There's a scene where we follow David to the vet clinic where he tries to.
She takes him to the doctor. Stevie takes him to the doctor.
vet. Okay. I don't know why I'm so good at this.
Okay.
But whenever there is a tertiary character, I usually recognize them from a different show.
Sure.
Right?
The vet was also in
Did you know this, or are you waiting for the reveal?
Well, you know what? Let's say it at the same time. Well, I'll count to 3. We'll say it at the same time because
Sure.
I know, but I just want to make
Oh,
sure.
so you do know, but you
I
just
do
wanna
know,
make
but I just want
sure-
to make sure that you know.
Sure.
So 1, 2, 3.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, he's in Silicon Valley. He plays
The vet.
the vet
The vet
in Schitt's Creek.
in Schitt's Creek
Plays
Blaine.
Blaine in Silicon Valley.
Blaine is the guy who is the stunt driver who in the episode where they get sponsored and they partner up to do a live stream of the monster truck jump.
Is this the most recent? Is this the last season? Was that in the last season?
Producer Josh, you've seen the show. Silicon Valley. There's an episode where the Silicon Valley team partners up with a monster truck or a Monster energy drink, and
I don't think I've ever seen this episode.
They plan to do a big jump,
Monster truck jump.
and the guy driving the monster truck is a guy named Blaine, who is the guy from Schitt's Creek. Yeah, the homicide energy episode.
That's got to be in the most recent season because I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know why I'm so good at this, but every time I see like a tertiary character, I'm always like, you were in one episode of this.
All right, let me pitch you one.
It's Blaine.
Let me see this. So the woman who plays Stevie,
Sure.
is she in anything else? She looks so familiar.
I mean, I can't place it. But
Okay.
I mean, she
didn't-
might be.
if you said that you
But-
were good at this, so guess
Well,
that
yeah,
was
so-
another. Guess
so
that was
for-
another
so
lie.
For the remainder of this episode, every time the vet popped up, I was like,
That's Blaine.
You're Blaine from from that one episode of Silicon Valley. And it's such a small part in that episode. We got some news. What do you got?
The actress who plays Stevie
Emily Hampshire.
is known to is credited in Mother
Okay.
as a fool.
Oh yeah, which is everyone knows. See, that's
Everyone
everyone
knows.
knows. The one of the first things you said to me when I met you was, "Oh my God, I live for the Pop Network," and I
Right.
said, "Have you seen Mother?"
That was our
I said,
first
"Have you seen Mother?" Because
15, 16 years ago. That
Yep.
was our first conversation.
I was like 3 movies you need to know about me: Mother, Snow Cake, and it's boy girl thing. I was like those 3 you need to know because that's
because we are both now huge.
because I'm a huge Emily Hampshire
Hampshire
a
fan.
huge Emily Hampshire fan.
So
I actually did like her character.
So
but that's
I think that the vet plays a larger role in the show. I think you've watched more episodes than I have.
I don't. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Sure. I mean, does he pop up in more episodes?
He returns. Yes, he's not. Yeah.
So the other, because I asked that because the other kind of subplot to this
Oh,
episode
she was in PSI Factor: Chronicles of the Paranormal. That's what it was.
is that
it's a pop original.
oh duh. The other kind of subplot to this episode is Alexis is picking up trash.
She's doing community service.
So in this episode, we don't know why, but she is just picking up trash, and it's very funny because she's still wearing high heels, a very low-cut skirt.
I mean, I picked up from context that there was community service.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you don't.
We don't know
learn
why. I don't know why she's doing community service. Yeah.
And she meets this guy who's maybe not meets. She's partnered up with this guy.
There was a sense that they knew each other already in the episode.
And they are picking up trash together. So he clearly is also doing community service, and there is this underlying sexual tension between the two. A little bit.
You do pick up on that, yeah.
Once again, he's attractive, so that's why. But
You're really focusing on this.
mean,
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. You're
mean,
totally right, but you're not.
he's
What's his name? just run his name by me one more time. I'm gonna Google it here, and I hope save search is off, so I hope nothing bad comes up.
But we also
Tim Rosen.
Do we-
Rosen? Rosen? I don't know. I'm not sure. He's Canadian, which makes sense because this was on Pop.
So we follow them.
Oh, he was in Winona Earp.
Winona Earp.
Yeah.
I think that's in the hat.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's in the hat.
We're gonna pull it and we're gonna get it, and I'm gonna be like, wait, and you'll be like, I know where he's from.
It's the guy from Schitt's
It's the
Creek.
guy from Schitt's Creek.
The other thing that happens
He
is
played the monster truck guy.
the other thing that happens is they end up getting rained out in the middle of them picking up trash, it
Yes.
starts to downpour rain, and they end up in a barn.
His barn.
Which, do we know that it's his barn
Yeah.
at that point? I don't.
Yeah. She makes a comment about it.
Well,
She makes a comment about him living in a barn,
Yeah.
and then to be fair,
But-
she makes a comment about him living in a barn. We see them escape the rain to a barn.
okay, you're right. You're
That
right,
barn is set up to be lived in. I don't know
his
if it's
barn.
ever addressed.
No, you're
that
right.
it
You're
is-
right. But later on, we find out that they hold hot yoga
Yes.
in his
Yes.
barn.
Yeah.
And David gets convinced to do some hot yoga.
That's one of the most interesting subplots in this whole episode, and I think maybe so far in what I've watched of this show, because it reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where Marge is taking notes on the soap opera, and they spoil all the future plots, and she just keeps writing with sexy
Oh, yeah.
results, because it's like hot yoga with sexy results. But the one thing that caught me off guard was I think they play up the Jocelyn is a horned up housewife a lot. Because she is talking to David very aggressively during
Yeah.
the hot yoga.
So the hot yoga, you meet a lot of the other characters in the town. Again, the town is small.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone, so everyone in the town is doing this hot yoga. And we see David there trying to get rid of his pulmonary embolism
Yes. Yeah.
by doing some hot yoga, and he ends up falling asleep
Yeah.
in a
he finds
downward dog.
He finds peace.
He finds his inner peace
He finds his inner peace and he falls asleep.
and falls asleep. And there's a moment where you're like, what is even happening in this barn?
The weirdest part about it is it looks like there's a good number of people there.
Yeah,
It looks like her he's yeah, Twyla hosts hot yoga classes in my barn. It's like he lives there,
so
and it's like a studio
there's
barn.
while they are
Which, by the way, we need to talk about this. Housing prices, obnoxious. Have you seen how much studio barns are going for lately? I thought it was good.
anyway, where was I? Okay.
We were talking about the hot yoga in the studio barn.
While this is happening, we also cut to Moira having her own panic attack.
I thought we were just gonna do that plot separately because there's a lot,
Well, so the subplot of that is that she agrees to do this commercial, and she realizes that she might be washed up.
yeah,
She's
that's
having
what she's
second
worried
thoughts about her own career.
Yep.
She's thinking about them being broke. She's having a
Yeah.
late stage life crisis.
Yeah.
And Johnny is trying his best to kind of hype her up, and it's not exactly working.
Here's two things that I really, really like about this plot and that I like about the writing that they do with Johnny, right? So first, he's a good husband.
Oh yeah.
He actually
they-
he actually legitimately cares about her doing a good job and he wants to help
So
out.
their kids, although they are not the shits, are kind of shits.
Yeah, no, they are shits.
They're entitled.
shits.
They're entitled. They're rich. They're bratty. But regardless, there are moments of genuine humanity.
yeah.
That I sometimes even don't feel like Moira has. She
No,
seems
no. She seems
completely disattached from. Is that a word?
Detached.
Disattached.
Disattached is.
I think I was thinking disassociated.
I think
and
I died. I
detached.
think I died of that while playing Oregon Trail. I think
I missed this.
did you?
No.
Okay. Okay. The best part for me about the Johnny writing is when he's talking to the people who are directing, and he's like, so what do you got here? What gels you using? You got gels in there? He said, you got a blue? You got a blue?
Oh yeah.
And the guy's
That
like,
whole
well,
part is so good.
he's like, well, it's not, because those are used on feature-length film. And he's like, yeah, I know. And you can tell he actually has knowledge of filmmaking, but it's not the appropriate setting. And it worked so much better for me than just having being I'm rich. I'm an asshole
Wait,
because
wait.
I'm rich.
There we go.
I'm an asshole.
Go to the YouTube to see all the
Yeah, that's right. If they're listening on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or a Zune that their grandma gave them in 2009, they wouldn't see that.
Nope.
But the trope is like, I'm rich and therefore I'm an asshole and I think I know what I'm talking about. But it seems like Johnny like legitimately knows what he's talking about and he's actually trying to help. He's just not helping.
The idea that Johnny is the like moral
compass.
I wouldn't even say moral compass, but he's like the emotional,
the moral center.
He's like, is so absurd because he himself is an absurd character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
they've done such a good job of making their absurdity seem natural.
So the family goes broke. Alexis and David's reaction is, fix it. Dad, fix it.
Yeah, Daddy, fix it.
Moira's reaction is,
the world is over. The world is ending.
She has a meltdown.
Yeah.
And so
I think, it is in the very first episode where she says that she can't even faint because they're taking her fainting couch. which I didn't appreciate how much.
So I just think like it's so silly to have a silly character be this emotional bedrock, but he kind of like meets all these other characters who are way more absurd than he is and has to like be.
Yeah. I think maybe, you know what? We may have cracked the code on that, which is that Johnny as a character isn't necessarily absurd in and of himself. He's just in such absurd situations with absurd people around him, and everyone around him is just bonkers.
Because if you think about it,
think about like him when they go to like the Cafe Tropical, not in like this episode.
Real quick, the oversized menus.
Oh God!
Make me
with the plastic flappies.
Like when I first saw them, I was like, "Are those? What's happening?"
It's
and
like,
then they all open the menus, and I'm like, "This is the best."
Yes.
Like constant gag of the show.
Yeah.
Because they are so fucking big.
Have you been to small town diners where they give you just ungodly? The craziest thing is, and this is just a not related to Schitt's Creek at all. How are they filling those menus? Like it's like 12-point font, and they're literally full of dishes.
Well,
like
they also throughout the episode like order everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Like the menu is. It's
literally
what's the factory? What's the factory?
The Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory.
The factory.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was real lost. I was like, I don't know. The Ford Motor Plant? Do they have a menu? I don't know.
The Cheesecake Factory.
But the point
Cheesecake Factory.
The point being,
this episode brought to you by
Cheesecake Factory.
Can we do that? Producer Josh, can we do that?
We're getting a thumbs down on that one.
Okay.
We'll just bleep it, so it'll just be factory and Ford Motor Plant.
No, I think the large menus is one of my favorite visual gags of this whole thing.
It is a great trope, but like even when Johnny's sitting at the Cafe Tropical, like he's just having a cup of coffee,
right,
eating toast, reading a paper,
and it's always Twyla.
Yeah, I think she's like the owner operator.
She's the only one that works there.
But like the point being, like Johnny is like. He talks about like, you know, sipping espresso in like Paris and whatever, like
right.
on the Amalfi Coast, and like he talks like, oh, I'm a rich man, I've done the rich man things. But then when he's in when he's in Cafe Tropical, like he's like a normal dude drinking coffee, reading a newspaper.
Right.
He's not super absurd, but then he gets put in these really absurd situations, like his wife is having a meltdown and locked herself in a trailer for a fruit wine.
Like I think he is the character that you are supposed to align with.
He's the grounding rod. He's a lightning rod.
Because his reaction to meeting some of these people in this town would be your reaction if you were to meet these people in this town.
Yes.
Like if you were to meet Stevie and you were like, "Hi, I need towels."
Yeah.
And the reaction that you get from her, that's the reaction you would actually have.
Yes. Yeah, very much.
So I think it's an interesting thing to make him the grounded character.
Yeah. If you had to pick a protagonist, like a sole protagonist, obviously it's an ensemble cast.
Right.
But if you had to pick a sole protagonist, who would you say it was?
I mean, I would say it's difficult because again, a little cheating here. We've now seen more than one
episode, yeah.
But it seems that the main character changes each episode. You get your Johnny episode,
focuses, yeah.
But it seems to be very much either a Johnny episode or a David episode.
Yes.
We get there has been a few Moira episodes.
You could almost say that this was a Moira episode.
Yeah. I mean, because it's very much about her own like reclaiming her power kind of thing, and just like at the very end, she's like, I can do this, and she very much can't.
The best joke. Oh my god, Herb Erlinger fruit line.
Yeah,
quality and craftsmanship in every.
Let's talk about her commercial shoot.
Yeah,
it's a disaster.
The funny thing is, I feel like this is just from like as being a Levy and growing up in Hollywood, it's just kind of like maybe a nod to this. But like when they start the commercial, she's very much like, I can't do this.
Right.
I can't do this, and she actually does.
That's kind of when Johnny steps in and tries to hype her up.
Yep, and then she sends him away, and she very much does have it, though. Like, she's very much in control.
Can I interrupt you really quick?
Yeah.
There's a part where he knocks on the trailer door, and she won't open it.
This is later when she's having the breakdown. Yeah.
He knocks on the trailer door.
How did you open it?
And she won't open it, and then finally the door opens, and when he gets in, she's like on the opposite side of the trailer.
Yeah.
And he's like, How did you
do that?
And she just goes, I threw a shoe. And it is the delivery in which she says it. It is like, after watching a full episode, you're like, oh, that's Moira.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
that one moment is just her in a nutshell. This is,
that's a nutshell?
This is...
Yeah, I'm gonna...
This is nutshell.
We got something... There's a when she tries to say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that was one of my favorite parts.
Producer Josh
He's on
just
this.
killing it.
We need to get you like little cue cards though, so you can send us signals. One of the best parts though is that when she starts out delivering it, she's very polished, she's very professional.
Yeah.
And then
it seems like it's gonna be
fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It seems like, oh, she's gonna nail this.
And then the best part is then they stop the commercial and they're like, oh yeah, you said I can't remember. She said like craftsmanship.
She's supposed to say glass and she says glaze.
Yeah, that's what it is. Which apparently her mispronouncing things becomes a huge.
It becomes a huge about a glazeful. And it's like, yeah.
No, but then they're like, you said it wrong. Like back to one. We'll just do it over. And then she just derails.
So oddly enough, her name is Moira, and she says her name wrong. Fun fact: it took me 17 times to read the intro because I kept saying.
You kept saying
Myra, Myra, and Moira.
Yeah.
Moira. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, now I know.
This is now an ASMR podcast. Moira.
But anyway, you were saying so she.
I just think it's funny that she has no confidence.
Right.
She's so down on herself. Completely stone cold sober. Does a great job. Only messes up one word, and everyone is so understanding. They're just like, it happens. Start again, and then she just gets super sloshed, is confident AF, and she sucks.
She steamrolls right past all the things that she messes up on.
Yeah.
She mispronounces words and just keeps
but this
going.
is by the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
But by the end of it, I think it's funny that by the end of it, she's drunkenly confident but terrible at acting. And I wonder if that's like the Levies giving a nod to being like, hey, you don't actually have to be good at acting. You just have to be drunk and confident.
So producer Josh sent me, I don't know if you found it on the internet or, but he sent me
what she says at the end?
The names at the end.
Oh my God.
And it's this blooper reel.
So as the show ends, and I've noticed they do this where as the show is ending, whatever their conversation is or whatever is happening, it continues over into the credits.
So the name is Herb Ertlinger.
Herb Ertlinger fruit wine.
Herb Ertlinger. And it's the names she says are Herb Irvinlinger, Bert Herfengeif, Irv Hermlinger,
Bing Herfengeif. I started laughing out loud and lost
Bing Livehanger, Livelink, Bert Herken, Burn Ugg, and then it ends with Bingo Ling Fucker. which earlier in the episode, I think there's a moment where Johnny drops the F-bomb, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
They can do that?
I didn't know this
pop. True.
That's why it's the premium network.
I should know. Pop's my favorite network.
Yep.
I should have known that. But I remember he drops the F-bomb, and I was like, huh. I thought this was not. You couldn't do that.
Even on Netflix, you can do that.
Well, yeah, but Netflix exists in its own. It's
Yeah.
like the international waters.
The international waters of content.
They can do whatever they want.
That's why it got picked up for Youth Pastor coming fall 2029.
We cannot promise that.
We get the thumbs down from the producer. Okay.
We cannot promise.
You didn't produce that one too. You don't get that.
We can't promise Youth Pastor being released on Netflix in 2029.
You know, I figured though 2029 was a good runway. Like I figured we had enough time to get it done, but by 2029. You know what's funny about Schitt's Creek is I didn't
most of it,
but I didn't laugh out loud. I just like felt like the mirth just kept building, and then when she says, what's the third one she says?
Well, there's. Hang on, let me pull it up again.
Her first thing.
It was Bert Herfengeif.
Bert Herfengeif. I just lost it. I started laughing out loud, and I was like, that was the moment where I was like, man, this is a great show.
You just like I said, the show is just easily, it's very easily bingeable.
It's very digestible.
Yeah, and
super.
Well, let's do the next segment that we normally do, which when we were discussing. Oh, is there anything else you wanted to add for
No,
this
not
episode?
about the plot. No.
Okay.
No.
So this is a segment we normally do in the show, which you forgot about.
Yeah.
Where we talk about who dies and who bangs on the show.
We had a name for it.
it
That's what
was
we were
just
talking
called
about. It was like bang, bang, banging, dead, dying. It was something like that. It was something like that.
That's what happens when you don't do an episode for a year. I don't.
Oh, you know what we should have done?
What's that?
We should have said that we were the wrong people at the beginning because no one would know. You know what? It's the first episode in video. No one would know anyway.
What do you
I'm
mean?
realizing now that it's.
What do you mean we're the wrong people?
Like if I had said that I was Belle and you had said that you were Haas.
Right.
Like the voices would have been different, but no one would know. It's the first video, so
Yeah.
no one. We missed an opportunity,
Well,
but we'll take it.
Next episode
Next
will
episode.
be different.
Or maybe every time we just have different hats. That's a great.
Next time I'll be the producer. So
I'm just imagining like an 80s like Talking Heads music video where it's just us switching like chairs and like Josh is suddenly in here. And,
wait. Producer Josh is telling me
we're getting breaking news.
dinner bangers and die. Is that a suggestion?
Diners bang.
Oh, diner bangers and die.
Is that what it was?
No, that's just a suggestion.
That's
a suggestion from our producer. I don't hate it.
I know.
If you've got a suggestion, find us on the internet and tell us at what's the handle?
At YNST Cast.
YNST Podcast.
What on Twitter is YNST Cast. There.
I don't know. You'll find it.
Hey, you know what? Working out the kinks, but I think we're doing great. I really do. I really think this is going well.
I do too.
I think we're doing great.
I do too.
Yeah.
I hope I can point to that. I hope you're having a good time.
Hope you're having a great time.
I don't think anyone, obviously, in the main cast dies. None of the Schitts die. None of the Roses die.
Here's the thing, though: is I'm interested if we don't run into, and maybe because it was on such a small network, we're not going to run
Other
into
Schitts
this,
or other Roses that we don't know about.
or if we run into contract issues. Because usually when something
mean?
goes 6 seasons, somebody like Mutt, Tim Rosen,
Sure.
will be like, I need to get paid as much as Dan Levy.
Okay.
And someone inevitably is like, no, we're not going to pay you that much. We'll just have to write out this character.
I don't see
like
Mutt
Donald
dying.
Donald Glover in Community is a
Sure.
prime example, right? He
doesn't die. He
doesn't die, but
he takes off in the Childish Tycoon.
yes. So there's but the point being like there's some disputes between like the production staff and the producers
Sure.
and or maybe it's financial and someone leaves the show.
Okay, so
I could
do
see
you
someone
leaving the show?
dying if they had to leave the show.
I mean the up until this point, the cast is so small.
It seems like it would be hard to let someone go.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I could see I could see Roland dying, but we know that he doesn't because he's in 79 of 80 episodes.
True.
Unless that one episode he dies in and then comes back, which isn't the case because we saw it.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Do Mutt and Alexis
Bang.
bang?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they have to, right?
I'm gonna run it down here. Mutt and Alexis bang. Stevie and David bang. Moira and Johnny bang.
Hold Well, they're married.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I needed at least one easy win.
This Stevie David.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here's another question for you.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you watched?
I am on 8. I want to say.
I've only watched
6. You've watched 6.
This is episode 6 of season 1, so I decided to watch 1 through 6.
Yes.
So this episode is where I've left off.
I have watched a few more.
Stevie and David?
Yeah, didn't catch that. Will they? Won't they? In their interaction.
I mean, I don't really. I mean, I don't think.
I thought they had a big will they? Won't they? Interaction.
Okay, this is something.
Hey, you know what? If we have a producer that's seen everything, do we want to get like confirmation on our guesstimates, or should we just let it?
Behind the scenes, our producer is a big fan of the show.
He's a big fan of Schitt's Creek.
Okay, can I bring something up that I wanted to bring up earlier, which I think is another selling point of the show.
Okay, I feel like when we're talking about who's banging and who's dying, you might want a little bit more preface to what you're about to say. But
are we wrapped up with the bang dying?
You know what? No, I'm not.
Okay.
Because I have one big question.
Sure.
Does Jocelyn ever bang somebody?
I mean, you would assume
Roland.
But
maybe? I don't know.
I guess there is, in the first few episodes, there is like kind of her, like, wandering eye kind of thing.
And the thing is, like, I don't even know that I haven't watched enough of the show. I don't know if she's like, ooh, Kitty's on the prowl. I don't know if it's that or if she's just like a very sexual character.
Okay, so a thing that I wanted to bring up.
I could see her and Roland just having a great marriage.
Sure. One thing I wanted to bring up and kind of discuss is David's sexuality. Like,
I know something about this show because I talked to someone about it.
Sure.
And I don't want to ruin anything.
Because up until this point, you kind of get hinted that he's very sexually open or what's the word? Non-binary, fluid, like not necessarily,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, maybe that's just how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So that's why when you
I have prior knowledge that exempts me from
spill it.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
spill it. Baby.
There's an episode where Stevie and David talk about David's sexuality because she is like she's also uncertain, and he compares it to drinking wine, and he says, well, obviously I like a good Cabernet, but who's to turn down a rosé on a hot summer day? And like he has this whole thing where he talks about enjoying all these different types of wines.
So that answers not only answers my question.
Yeah.
Because with Alexis, all she does is talk about her previous boyfriends. Yeah. She's kind of
Stavros.
frisky. She's frisky with Mutt and
and with there's a thing with Ted.
But with David, it's very much like he doesn't talk about his previous relationships
ever.
No.
He shows very little romantic interest in anything.
But I think now that I know from what you've told me, I think that is another selling point of this show.
Yeah. I love that. I love his character, and I don't know. You don't know if he's gay, straight, asexual.
Well,
you have no idea, and I love everything about the character.
It's never explicit.
Yeah.
Maybe you could argue that it's what's the word I'm looking for? Implied.
Yeah.
But it's never like explicit, which I think is a very interesting move, but it also makes the show interesting.
Yeah.
I think.
I think it's a really cool thing to do because you don't like. So many tropes are written on like a character's relationship to another character.
Yeah.
Do they have sexual tension? Is it will they, won't they? Are they star-crossed lovers? Is it a girl next door?
Yeah.
Like there's so many tropes are written on that to have a character that like literally.
Well, because there are so many people that fall in that category of David, I think if he was explicitly, let's say, just a straight-on, just gay character, you're running the line of making him like super lispy and like very fashiony, and it's well, but the David character is not that, and I think the way that they write him in terms of his sexuality is kind of spot on.
It's for me at least, it's refreshing because there was a time in an early episode where I asked myself that same question, and then I asked myself, why the hell does it matter?
Oh yeah,
Like
Because
it doesn't matter. And then so later on when you find out some things about his sexuality or like what characters he may or may not hook up with, like you're like, oh, okay, it wasn't built on this whole predication of whatever his sexuality is so important to who he is as a person.
Well,
He's not just a gay man in rural Schitt's Creek.
rural Schitt's Creek. Let's wrap it up and just kind of give our final thoughts here on this show.
Sure.
I think for me, this is definitely a show that I watched at kind of the perfect time. It's easy to watch. It's pretty uplifting,
Going into the winter months in the Midwest, with a global pandemic, I don't think I could have found a better time to find a show that I'm like, I'll watch all 6 seasons.
I watched I binge watched that NXIVM documentary about the sex cult. I binge watched like all these heavy
I did not watch that.
Oh, it's very good.
Okay.
It's called The Vow. It's all about NXIVM, that celebrity sex cult. It's great. Watch it.
NXIVM?
Yeah, it's great.
I thought those were the people that provided my cable.
I actually take NXIVM for my
mild to severe
plaque psoriasis. But I've been watching a lot of just like heavy shows about like murder and like and this is just
delightful.
A small family
Yeah.
who find themselves in a small town and silly things happen.
Yeah.
But it's also like there's so much heart and like just it's a very easy show to watch because you burn through 6 episodes and don't even realize you just burned through 6 episodes.
Why is it that all the characters are so lovable?
I think it's because it's the town, and I think that's the point of the show.
Yeah.
Like this small town called Schitt's Creek, which literally was a joke, is bringing them to Earth.
Yeah, but also like why is it?
It stripped them of their titles of being I guess the rich elite.
Yeah, my question to you is why have I seen so many shows where they have a David Lee-esque character and I hate that character, but when I see David, I love him. Why is
I don't know. The right. Quick question before I pass it. Let me give my final thoughts first.
Yeah.
What state is this? What state is Schitt's Creek in?
That's a good question for Jin.
Do we know what state?
Maryland. Pop is a Canadian network.
Yeah, but
Schitt's Creek is in Canada. Which is interesting because all these people are American.
Well, because
it's on a Canadian network, so that makes sense.
I mean, I suppose. Are we sure that Schitt's Creek is in Canada?
I believe it. I'd buy it.
Let me wrap up my final thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, we've clearly said a lot of good about this show. There actually, honestly, is very little bad that I can find from the show. I enjoy all the characters. I think the writing is fantastic. I think. What's the beef? What's your?
Schitt's Creek is a real town.
Where is it?
Schitt's Creek is a small town in Ontario, Canada, founded in 1895 by Horace Schitt and his sister.
That's amazing. That's like, so it's the show is predicated on truth. That's incredible.
Hold on. Let me do a little bit more digging. That can't be real. There's no way that's real.
I mean, it sounds like it's real. So my point is,
hold on. It's not real. It's not. No, it's not real.
Producer Josh.
But it does take place in Ontario. It's not a real town, though.
I'm pretty sure you just read the
the show.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I honestly, like, it was the first thing that popped up on Google, and I was like, "There's no way that's true."
You just read the show description as truth.
It was the. To be fair, it was the wiki, and it was the fandom wiki. It wasn't actual Wikipedia.
Wait a minute, Gotham's in New York.
Well, no, Gotham's in Gotham. Duh. Everyone knows that.
Anyway, my point is, there's very little.
Oh, it was filmed in Canada too.
There's very little. There actually isn't anything I didn't like about the show.
Yeah,
all the characters are delightful. It flows very quickly.
I'm sad now. I really wanted it to be real. That would have been fantastic. I would have loved that so much.
So, for my final
now the
thoughts,
show's ruined. Fucking 1 out of 10. Let's wrap this up.
Out of 10. Here's the thing. You know me. I can never give a show a 10.
That's true. You don't. I've seen it. You've done it.
I think
once?
I don't think I've ever done it.
You have done it once. I've done it twice.
You've done it with
I've done it twice. Once was Downton Abbey.
Downtown Abbey.
Downtown Abbey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a great show.
It was a great show. There's another one that we both gave 10s, but I don't remember what it was.
Phineas and Ferb, maybe?
Sounds about right. Maybe it was Sam and Cat. I don't know.
I can't give this show... I kind of want to give this show a perfect 10. I kind of want to do it.
Interesting. 2020 has changed you.
9.8.
There we go.
It's very, very good.
Okay. All right.
I can't give it a perfect 10 until I've seen all of it.
Okay.
But it's very good. What do you think?
Oh boy. I think that this is... I think that...
A show about the shits.
I think that we need to address something very important.
Sure.
And that is that American television and Netflix be fucking up.
Why?
It's not that they're not good and we don't have good stuff, but like there are so many good shows coming out of Canada.
Oh yeah,
that people in America are sleeping on, and then they go for like tons of seasons and then they blow up. Like Letterkenny, Schitt's Creek. Like they go for they go for so many seasons and no one in America even gives a damn. And then you watch 3 episodes of either of those shows and you go, this show is absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
I wish that Netflix America was trying that hard. Instead of just being like, Canada can keep doing it and we'll pick it up.
Yeah, but I think there's just so much content.
Yeah.
There's which is half the reason why we even started this podcast is because like we did this podcast 3 years ago and we thought there was a lot of TV. In those 3 years,
we just keep adding more.
That the hat just keeps overflowing.
Yep.
Because I think things just move too quickly, and now you can't just watch a show and be like, that show is great. Because once you finish watching a show that's great, you have to move on to the next show that's great.
Schitt's Creek came out, it's 6 seasons, so it came out, like, when did it come out? Was it 2014?
Something like that.
2015?
That makes sense.
Like, that was 5 years ago. And this show has been happening for 5 years.
And in the last maybe 2 have people been talking about it. I actually remember scrolling through Netflix and be like, why would I ever watch a show called Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Scrolled right past it.
I did the same thing. There was actually a time in my life where I was like, I'm going to see what all the hype is about. And I watched like 20 seconds of the first episode and I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, I think the show is called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Might as well be called Ass River. Or it's the same.
Or Boob Lake, for all we know. Okay, but can we be real?
Sure.
After we make Youth Pastor.
Okay. I mean,
we're gonna make
it's done.
It's done. Yeah. Oh, after it airs.
After we
comes out,
cut it
together, and
cut it down.
Yes.
To
and
the
have it and
director's
get it
cut.
Yep, and get the distribution
the
Snyder cut of Youth Pastor. Can we please start a late 90s summer camp comedy called Boob Lake?
Write it down.
We'll put it in the bank.
Write it down.
We'll put it in the bank. It'll come out after
Youth
Pastor.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts on Schitt's Creek. Netflix told me I was going to like this 98% like.
Sure.
I would agree with that.
The algorithm
was not wrong on this one. The show is delightful. The characters are so relatable and like endearing. That's what it is. This show is endearing as hell. And like I said, for me watching this or like seeing a preview and thinking like rich family lose it all, like for me going in with that mindset,
the show has so much working against it. It's called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
It's about a rich white family that find themselves
up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Which, by the way, how could it ever top the movie with Sean William Scott and Seth Green?
It has everything working against it.
Yeah. But then I watched one episode and I immediately went.
You watch episode 6, season 1.
Season 1, episode 6, Wine and Roses. And I said, I have to watch more.
That's great.
I have to watch more. Honestly, I'm very excited to see how it ends because I want to. There's so much that you get to do in 6 seasons for us to watch.
It's only going to get better.
Because if we watched in like the middle of the 4th season, I would have to be thinking to myself like, okay, how did we get here? Where do we go from here? Right. But having watched so early in the show, like I get to watch this whole show now.
Yeah.
Out of 10,
it's pretty good.
I always rate higher than you, and you didn't give me a lot to work with.
9.8.
So I'm gonna give it a 9.9.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not gonna give it a perfect 10. I would like to retcon my Downton Abbey as well. I don't know.
Sure.
I'd like to give that show a 9.9.
We'll go to the books. Whoever's doing the Wikipedia of all the official
Of all the
rankings.
official rankings, yeah, retcon that one. Whoever has the Google Doc.
So, yeah, we're going to do things a little differently.
A little bit differently.
That was our thoughts on Schitt's Creek.
If you like Schitt's Creek,
right,
and you like our sexy voices, but we are horribly wrong about everything, and you want to tell us how much we're big dum-dums and wrong about all of this, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at YNST Podcast. Everywhere.
Leave some comments, suggest some shows that you have been watching that you think we've never seen. Maybe we'll throw in the hat.
Tell all your friends about it. Give her back the Zune that she gave you in 2009, and let her listen to our podcast.
So normally what we do is one of us.
Vodcast? Would it be a vodcast?
Sure.
Vodcast.
I don't necessarily enjoy that term. But,
yeah. Well, the P isn't for audio, but
normally what we would do is one of us would reach into the hat and we would pull out a show, pull out a random episode, and pick it that way. But since we got a producer, we're going to have him do it.
We're going to let him randomly pick.
He is rifling through this beautiful
Can I just tell you, can I tell you something? I really hope it's good. Like, I'd really hate to go from this to numbers.
We got a lot of gems in there. Looks like he's got one.
It looks like he's got one.
Producer Josh, what are we doing next week?
Gravity Falls.
Oh, Gravity Falls. All right.
Excellent.
I'm a little familiar with this one.
You gonna pull that up?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how many seasons are we rocking?
It looks like there are seasons. I don't know how many. There's 40 episodes total. 40 episodes.
Is there not?
There's just total
Is
40
there not
episodes.
seasons?
I don't think there's seasons. 40 episodes. Two seasons, 40 episodes.
2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Roll the six-sided die, and then we'll see
If
we'll
we get
do evens and odds.
odds. Is it even or odd? Even. Okay, so we'll do
Season 2.
Yeah.
Roll the die. 13. Season 2, episode 13.
Season 2,
Gravity Falls.
episode 13. Huh. All right.
All right, here we
It
go.
looks like
We're scrolling.
It looks like we are working with Gravity Falls, season 2, episode 13, A Tale of Two Stans.
Oh, this is gonna be real silly.
The reuniting of the Pine brothers, Stanford and Stanley. A series of flashbacks from their lives are shown, and the history together is explained. Oh no! Did we get like a clip show within a clip show or within a show?
God.
Oh, I hate when this happens. Wait, no. I'm sorry. I counted wrong.
Okay.
That's season 2, episode 12. Season 2, episode 13
Oh.
isn't rated as high, though.
Okay, that's fine.
Tale of Two Stands was 9.6. We are watching Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons.
Oh, I cannot wait for this.
Season 2, episode 5, Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dipper finds an unlikely friend to join him with his newest obsession, a nerdy board game called Dungeons,
Oh
Dungeons,
my
and
God.
More Dungeons. That could not be more perfect.
For those of you who don't know, we're
big
fucking
big
dorks.
big Dungeons and Dragons fans.
and we're both in a D&D campaign.
D&D
This
pod.
is great. Oh man, next week
Yeah.
is going to be
I'm excited for this now. To be fair, IMDb doesn't think that this is as good.
It's fine.
Tale of Two Stands was 9.6. This is only 8.5, but you couldn't have asked for a better episode, especially getting away from a clip show. I hate when we watch clip episodes and I'm like, I wouldn't know what's going on even
Oh
if
my
we were
gosh.
watching.
Well, you know what? This is our first episode back in quite a long time. We're glad that you guys are here for the ride. We're glad you joined us on the YouTube. If you did, this is all new to us. So, again,
By the way,
next week,
Gravity Falls. Twin siblings Dipper and Mabel Pines spend the summer at their great uncle's tourist trap in the enigmatic Gravity Falls, Oregon.
there you go. Real quick, remind them what we're watching next week, and join us then while we watch episode 13.
Season 2, episode 13 of Gravity Falls, Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons.
Also, smash that like button.
Yeah, there it is.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
You never seen that?